For the next activity, our topic is adding and subtracting fractions. And our standard is a 4th grade standard, and it is part A of the standard, which is understand addition and subtraction of fractions as joining and separating parts referring to the same whole. And our central question is, how do I add and subtract fractions with the same denominator? This activity, students are going to need a worksheet that the teacher will give them that has the different equations that the students will be solving about either adding or subtracting fractions. They will need their 1/8 fraction model, 1/6 fraction model, and then the 1/4 fraction model, and then just some little slips of paper that they can use just as place markers that will help students who need more of a visual side to it. So first, students are going to look at number 1, which is 3/4 plus 1/4, and the teacher can remind students that we're going to be following along with the standard, and so they're going to be recognizing that they're going to be adding on this first problem separate parts of the same whole, which is why students have their fraction model, which represents separate parts and then of all in one whole. And so what students are going to do first, they're going to notice 3/4, and they're going to come down and they're going to label or put a place marker and create 3/4 on their fraction model. So students will take their first place marker and do it over 1/4, and then another one, and now they have 2/4, and now students have 3/4. And now students are going to be adding, so then they're going to take another one and they're going to add another 1/4. And then now students are going to be able to visually see that they have added the fraction 3/4 plus 1/4. So now students are going to notice that when they added 3/4 plus 1/4, they got a total of 4/4 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4 pieces. And so they're going to come to the top and they're going to write 4/4. And what students will recognize at this point that 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. So students can come here and just write 1 whole. And then they can box in their answer or circle it, however works best for them. And then they're going to move on to the next problem. So now your students are going to be doing 3/8 plus 2/8. And so your students are going to do the same thing. They're going to come over to their place markers and do 1, 2, 3/8. And so now they have their first fraction, and now they're going to be adding. So they're going to be joining another piece of the same whole, and they're going to be adding another 1, 2/8. And so now students can come to the bottom and count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/8 pieces. So this means that 3/8 plus 2/8 equals 5/8. And so students will write the answer on their paper. And now this is a great opportunity where teachers can explain to the students that when they're adding and subtracting fractions that have the same denominator, students will start to notice a pattern that they are keeping the denominators the same because we're in the same whole piece, and we're only adding our numerators together. So our 3 plus 1 equals 4, and then we keep our 4, so 4/4. And the same thing with number 2. 3 plus 2 equals 5, and we kept our denominator the same because it's already the same at the bottom, so it gives us 5/8. So now let's move on and do a sample subtraction problem. So now we're going to go ahead and jump ahead to number 4 since it's a subtraction problem. And your students are going to start out with 5/6. So they're going to come to their 1/6 piece, and they're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now your students have the fraction 5/6. And so now we are separating parts of this whole. So we are subtracting, so we're separating it out, and we're taking away 4/6. So now your students can come and they can take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 pieces. And so now your students are left with 1/6. So 5/6 minus 4/6 equals 1/6. And so now coming back up to number 3, students will do the same thing. They have their 1/6 piece, and then we're going to be adding another 4/6 to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so now students are going to go ahead and notice they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/6 pieces. And so we go to the top, 1 plus 4 is 5, and we keep our denominator the same, which is 6. which gives us our 5/6. Number 5, students, we're going to be subtracting again, and we are going to go ahead and label or set our place markers to get 3/4, 1, 2, 3, and now we are subtracting another 3/4 away. So 1, 2, 3, and now we're left with no place markers on our fraction model, so that comes out to be 0 because we have 0 left. So students can come up to the top and write 3 minus 3, which is 0, over 4, which is the same thing as just 0. And so now students are going to be doing the last problem, which is 7/8 minus 2/8. And students can probably go ahead and just figure out the pattern just by knowing that they're going to subtract the numerators and keep the denominators the same. But it's important for your students to just go ahead and model that out, especially if we're just beginning to add and subtract fractions. This just helps your students really get a visual understanding of taking away parts of the same whole or joining parts of the same whole, just like our standard mentions. So in problem 6, we have our 7/8 pieces, and we're going to be taking away 2/8 of those. So take away 1, 2, and then your students will count how many 1/8 pieces they have left, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/8 pieces. So that is 5/8. And then again at the top, 7 minus 2 is 5 over our same denominator, which is going to be 8.